Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following. Indiana University's Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, presenting Security Matters with tips for improving online security in 3 minutes or less. Main Source Bank, headquartered in Greensburg, Indiana, offering products and services to fit every stage of life. More information at mainsourcebank.com. Main Source, life needs a great bank. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Smithville Communications, serving Southern Indiana with high-speed fiber gigabit internet. Smithville Fiber Gigabit Technology. Tap the power.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk, 70% of Hoosier students don't graduate college on time.
I do ask them the question, so your first math quiz, I say to them, 120 credits, 8 semesters, how much do you have to average?
A new statewide campaign pushes students to take at least 15 credit hours a semester, but some education leaders say that sends the wrong message to students. A vaccine making its way into the hands of farmers could slow the spread of a disease that killed an estimated 8 million pigs this past year.
This vaccine is not a home run. This vaccine is a single. But on our farms, we were tired of striking out with this disease.
How long before the supply of pork rebounds and record high prices at the grocery store begin to fall? And in our History Through Headlines segment, we explain how astronomy research conducted in this shed continues to be referenced today. Those stories and an update on this week's headlines right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Hello, I'm Joe Wren, and welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. Less than 1/3 of Hoosiers complete a college undergraduate degree on time. Education leaders say one of the main reasons why is that college students don't realize they need to take on an average 15 credit hours per semester to finish their degree in 4 years. So this week, Indiana's Commission for Higher Education kicked off a statewide campaign that encourages students to take at least 15 credit hours each semester. They say it will help students graduate more quickly, earn better grades, and save money. But as State Impact Indiana's Rachel Morello reports, some university representatives are concerned the campaign may not be sending the right message to students.
Sarah Carell is scheduled to graduate next year from Purdue with a dual major in agricultural economics and education.
You just have to make it a priority and work through it.
According to state figures, only 3 in 10 college students finish a degree in 4 years. That means 70% of students do not. The Commission for Higher Education wants to change that.
How many of you, by a show of hands, plan to graduate on time?
At IUPUI New Student Orientation, Commissioner Teresa Lubbers launched the 15 to Finish campaign, designed to help more Indiana students graduate on time by completing at least 15 credits each semester.
We can actually convey it, I think, in compelling terms from both a financial standpoint and a completion standpoint. You're more likely to graduate and you're not going to have as much debt. Those are pretty powerful messages for students and families.
Lubbers says at IUPUI, simply telling students they'd need that many credit hours to graduate on time led to double the number of students taking 15 credits in just one semester.
Sort of a aha to us when we talked to our student leaders around the state, and they were scratching their heads, confounded by the fact that if they took 12 credit hours that they were on the 5-year plan, because they didn't tend to be on the 5-year plan.
Although most everyone agrees on-time completion is a good thing, some have concerns that it's not taking into consideration why students choose to take fewer credit hours.
The issues that students confront is whether or not they can afford their education, and the monies that they get from aid, the monies maybe that they get from family, whatever they can earn on their own to make it possible for them to complete their degree.
Let's take Indiana University, for example. Each credit hour costs about $280 for in-state residents. So if a student increases her course load from 12 credit hours to 15 credits, she'll pay about $850 more per semester. But higher education officials say delaying those credits could cost a lot more in the long run.
These costs are going to affect us as we go throughout our lives, and whether or not we're completing on time really matters to us, especially right now.
On average, the annual bill for undergraduate students in Indiana is a little more than $7,000. If they stick around for a 5th year, the Commission for Higher Ed estimates it costs an extra $50,000. That's because after 8 semesters, students are no longer eligible for federal financial aid. Potential stresses on students' time could be another reason students don't take 15 credit hours.
So if you have a 15 credit load, you're in class 15 hours approximately per week, you should be spending about 30 hours per week outside of class preparing, studying. So it's about a 45-hour work week. So, I talk with students about it's like a full-time job. This is your job, and you need to balance all of that.
In addition to each credit hour's academic workload, many students take on a job to help offset some of their education costs. Girton says an advisor's job is to take each student's individual circumstances into account when helping them plan out their degree.
What are they worried about? And what are the challenges that they're trying to manage? And so it's very personalized. It's about tailoring the plan. And I suppose if there's a concern, it's probably more that 15 to finish is generic. I mean, it's a campaign, and so it is that issue of sometimes a student will need to take lower credits or will choose that, and sometimes for a good reason.
State officials have taken steps to try to alleviate some concerns, including the introduction of a number of tools to help students keep track of where they are in their degree progress.
There's now a 8-semester map that lays out exactly what the requirements are and the options for fulfilling that requirement for those semesters, and shows them essentially a template of how you might move through that particular major and degree.
If students follow their degree map and a required class is not available when they need it, state law requires the university provide them a free course.
We are changing mores. I mean, this is not always the way people thought about it. Some people think, you go to college and you wander. Well, a few people may have parents who pay for them to wander in college. That's not the reality for most of our students.
You've been hearing for a long time that 12 credits are enough, and it's not. And so I think that people really students, we appreciate the transparency, we appreciate the honesty, and it's really just good to hear that this is what we actually need.
In State Impact, Indiana's Rachel Morello joins us now for more. Hello, Rachel.
Hi.
So what do these recommendations from the Commission really mean or change, if anything, in the curriculum?
So the recommendations don't exactly change anything, since they don't make the 15 credit hours per semester mandatory, and there's no penalty if a student doesn't sign up for at least 15 credit hours.
What does a course load look like now for a typical Indiana college student?
Sure. So the current federal financial aid programs define a full course load at 12 credits. And the Commission estimates that a majority of Indiana students are meeting that minimum, but they're not really going much higher than that. I think they found only a third of Indiana students take 15 or more credits per semester. And Commissioner Lubbers says upping that number will lead to more on-time graduations, better grades, and reduce the amount of money students will have to pay for their degree.
Where does Indiana lie in terms of the number of required credit hours that students must take? And is there any way that they would want to take a look at that again and adjust that, or is that just not a possibility?
So according to state law, the majority of bachelor's degree programs require 120 hours and associate's degrees 60. And unless accreditation or licensure requires more than that. The state already reduced those numbers about 2 years ago after they discovered that 90% of programs in Indiana actually exceeded the standard, which many refer to as credit creep. But officials say programs can't go further below those limits if they want to maintain academic rigor and quality.
Now, there's incentive for students to do this because then it's less debt, they get done on time, but is there any incentive for universities and colleges to really want to push the 15 credit hour?
Well, I think it's fair to say that universities have always wanted to see the students who come in as freshmen graduate from their school, but there are financial incentives as well for them to do well as far as graduation rates go. Indiana has a performance funding formula in place, which it established in 2011, and that ties the amount of state funding a university receives to metrics such as the number of students who graduate, the number of students who graduate on time, at-risk student populations, and other things like that.
It's hard to believe it's August already. School starts next week. What's in the pipeline for State Impact Indiana?
We're taking a really good look right now at the pre-K pilot program that the state just announced the 5 counties for, so we'll be taking a look at some of the counties that they have selected.
Okay, and for more, people can go to stateimpactindiana.org.
Right.
Thank you very much, Rachel.
Thanks.
Now for headlines, we go over to Alex Dirkman, who has an update on this week's top stories.
Thanks, Joe. Governor Mike Pence is asking the president for answers about the increasing number of immigrant children crossing the U.S.-Mexico border. A report last week showed 245 children were sent to Indiana to stay with so-called sponsors. Normally, that's a relative or a family friend. Pence says he wasn't informed in advance that the kids were being moved here. In the letter he sent to President Obama this week, Pence asked who the children are, when they were placed, and where. He writes, while we feel deep compassion for these children, our country must secure its borders and provide for a legal and orderly immigration process. Those who have crossed our border illegally should be treated humanely and with decency and respect, but they should be returned expeditiously to their home countries to be reunited with their families rather than being dispersed around the United States in sponsored placement or long-term detention facilities. Experts are predicting record high corn yields this year in Indiana. They're crediting this summer's cool weather combined with a lot of rain early in the season. Indiana is the country's 5th largest producer of corn. A corn surplus means lower prices on everything from cooking oil to animal feed. And eventually those lower feed prices will translate into higher profits for meat producers and bring down the cost of chicken, pork, and beef, which have all reached record highs this summer. Governor Mike Pence is trying to win federal approval for his proposal to expand Medicaid through the Healthy Indiana Plan. Pence met with Health and Human Services Secretary Sylvia Matthews Burwell Wednesday in Washington, D.C. to discuss the state's proposal. In a statement, the governor wrote he appreciates the willingness of Burwell to have the discussion, but also adds differences remain. Pence unveiled the HIP 2.0 plan in May. It would provide health insurance to more than 300,000 currently uncovered low-income Hoosiers. The Indianapolis Veterans Affairs Hospital is marked for further review because a union leader has accused staff there of manipulating wait times. VA officials this week briefed congressional leaders on why it marked 112 facilities, including Roudebush VA Medical Center, for further review after an audit in May. But a Roudebush spokeswoman says surveys of the employees do not support the allegation that wait times were changed to make the hospital look better. The VA has not indicated when it will conduct the additional investigations. A settlement will erase $1.5 million of bad debt for more than 260 Indiana military members. Attorney General Greg Zeller and attorneys general from a dozen other states filed suit against a military consumer lender based in California and Georgia. Zeller says the company offered immediate credit to consumers at mall kiosks near military bases so they could make purchases. But the agreements the consumers signed didn't accurately disclose financing charges. A lawsuit involving a dispute between State Superintendent Glenda Ritz and the State Board of Education is moving forward. The issue at the center of the lawsuit is whether State Board of Education members violated the state's open meeting law when they decided via email to send legislative leaders a letter asking them to intervene in how the school's A through F grades were being calculated. State Superintendent Glenda Ritz was not a part of this correspondence. Ritz filed a similar lawsuit last October, but a judge threw it out, saying a state-appointed official could not sue a state organization. So 4 residents filed essentially the same suit, and Attorney General Greg Zeller asked for that case to be dismissed as well. The state's open meeting applies to in-person meetings and repeated phone calls, but does not explicitly mention email. Judge Cynthia Ayers wrote in her ruling there is no Indiana case law on whether electronic communications fall within the meaning of the word meeting. Therefore, in order for the court to properly determine this issue while liberally construing the provisions of the law, a full examination of the facts and circumstances of the events in question is necessary. Ayers said proper discovery must be made before a ruling can be issued. Today is former U.S. Attorney Joe Ogset's first day as a partner at the Indianapolis-based law firm Bose, McKinney & Evans. Ogset announced earlier this month that he was stepping down from his federally appointed post. Then this week, the law firm announced he would be joining their litigation practice group, concentrating on internal investigations and corporate audits. Ogset's original resignation reignited speculation that he might run for the Democratic nomination in next year's Indianapolis mayoral election. Ogset says he will need a couple of weeks to decide whether he wants to continue to pursue politics. Construction on Interstate 69 from Crane to Bloomington won't be complete until the end of next year. That's 1 year later than originally planned. An Indiana Department of Transportation spokesman blames inclement weather over the past year and a half for the delay. He says some unexpected environmental issues, such as dealing with the porous rock underneath the planned interstate and difficulty finding contractors, also contributed to that delay. A reminder for parents as your children prepare to go back to school. The state has made some slight changes to its immunization requirements, and here's a look at the highlights. All incoming kindergarten students need 2 doses instead of 1 of the hepatitis A vaccine, and those doses must be at least 6 months apart. Students entering 6th grade must now have a Tdap, tetanus, diphtheria, pertussis or whooping cough vaccine, a meningitis vaccine, and 2 shots for chickenpox before the first day of school. And a new requirement for incoming high school seniors is a second immunization for meningitis. Health officials say most children have probably received these vaccines if they get regular checkups. A man who has been working in the Columbus Parks and Recreation Department for 18 years is taking over as director. Mark Jones' appointment comes after a long-running dispute involving the mayor, the city council, and the Parks Board. In late December, the mayor demoted then-director Ben Wagner for allegedly misusing city resources. Council members questioned whether those allegations had merit, and when, after several months, the issue was still unresolved, 3 of the 4 Parks Board members resigned. The mayor appointed new members in their place. It may be long overdue, but Indiana icon Bobby "Slick" Leonard will finally be enshrined into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame next month. Leonard played high school basketball in Terre Haute, college ball at IU, coached the Pacers for nearly 12 years, and has been in the broadcast booth for the Pacers for decades. And Joe, Leonard is the subject of a documentary that actually debuted this week, and it is called Bobby "Slick" Leonard, Heart of a Hoosier.
We'll have to watch for that. And don't forget, he was part of that 1953 Indiana University National Championship for basketball. I think nice. he hit 2 free throws to win the game.
Wow,
so,
talented.
Very well deserved. Thanks, Alex. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. A vaccine that slows the spread of a disease that's killing millions of pigs is making its way into the hands of farmers. Why some say things are still going to get worse before they get better. In our History Through Headlines segment, why an asteroid discovery program was founded in Indiana and how it's being used today to inspire science and technology. And think Field of Dreams, except basketball. A local man is building a court in his barn and opening it up to the public. If you build it, they will come, he says. We'll take you inside. Those stories right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
Frontline provides me with information that makes me think.
First I shout at the television. You gotta be kidding!
You won't see this anywhere else.
The stories hit close to home.
Truth is a very valuable commodity.
They're uncompromising.
I want to do something. I want to take action.
It changed the way I actually live my life.
It lets me make up my mind.
I trust it.
When I watch Frontline,
it makes me angry and it makes me want to voice it.
I want to make a difference.
We can make a difference.
Frontline.
These guys are my heroes.
PBS kicks off the weekends with Charlie Rose and America's top newsmakers on his new series, Charlie Rose, The Week.
Some people say, well, Obama was this raving liberal before, now he's, Dick Cheney.
Recap the week's biggest stories and Charlie's best interviews.
You feel there's this incredible synergy between the audience and the performer, and time slows down.
And get a look at the week ahead. Charlie Rose, The Week. Check local listings.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. The Indiana State Fair begins today, and as Sarah Fenton reports, officials there and around the state are taking extra precautions to prevent the spread of a new pig virus.
Nick Tharp manages day-to-day sow operations at Legan Livestock and Grain near Greencastle. The Legan farm is an integrated operation, which means farmers harvest corn and soybeans as well as hogs. All the pigs in Tharp's 3,000-head herd have tested negative for the disease, but Tharp has seen the toll PED has taken on other farmers.
It's very devastating financially and just psychologically to those producers that do have the disease, just to have to deal with the large number of mortalities of baby pigs in the event of an outbreak.
A vaccine is available for the disease, but until recently only veterinarians could administer it. In a rare move, the USDA stepped in to make the vaccine available directly to farmers. The idea is this will reduce the time it takes to get the medicine into the hands of pork producers.
It is a tool in the toolbox for producers as they look at mitigating the disease challenge.
Today, veterinarian Matt Ackerman is keeping office hours in his Greensburg clinic, but typically he says he's rarely there.
Take a sleeve, such as this.
He spends most of his time traveling to hog farms across the Midwest, where he's seen the effects of PED and the vaccine firsthand. Ackerman says that while the medicine doesn't cure the disease, it does help build immunity in at-risk hog populations.
Basically, I tell my clients that this vaccine is not a home run. This vaccine is a single, but on our farms we were tired of striking out with this disease.
Ackerman believes the disease is here to stay, but with proper treatment and planning, it can eventually become manageable.
What will probably happen, like with most outbreak situations, is depending on who you believe, this virus potentially killed 8 million pigs in the U.S. this past year. It'll probably kill 4 million this next year, and then 2 million the following year, and then become part of the background noise.
The rising market price of hogs has, for the most part, mitigated the financial loss for farmers and producers. But the reduced supply means consumers are feeling the pinch at the grocery store. The cost of an average cut of pork has shot to $4.10. That's 12% of an increase over 2013 prices.
Who's paying the cost for the PED virus? It turns out that's consumers.
Purdue agricultural economics professor Chris Hurt applauds the USDA's efforts to fast-track the vaccine and get it into the hands of producers. He's hopeful that will eventually begin to bring down the record-high prices, but it will likely get worse before it gets better. Hurt says because the disease thrives in cold weather, the price flare-up will reach its zenith late this summer, when pigs who suffered PED would normally go to market.
That $4.10, the record highest price we've ever seen in the grocery store, is not going to do anything but go up for the rest of this summer and probably into October.
Hurt says he expects high consumer prices to start easing sometime early next year.
It's important to remember the PED virus is a pig-specific disease and doesn't pose a danger to humans or the food they eat. And now we take a look back at what was making the news in our History Through Headlines segment. It was 1987. Michael Jordan set a record for the Chicago Bulls with 58 points in one game. President Ronald Reagan was in his second term, and a distinguished astronomy professor concluded his tenure at Indiana University. The headline reads, Edmondson looks back at 50 years with IU astronomy. Frank Edmondson had quite a career during his 50 years at IU, most notably founding the Indiana Asteroid Program. The program archived around 7,000 photographic plates used for asteroid discovery and orbit mapping in this shed behind the Goethe Link Observatory near Martinsville. The clear skies were optimal for asteroid research until the industrialization of central Indiana made accurate space photography difficult.
As Martinsville and Mooresville become more of a light dome, we couldn't do any more faint fuzzy work. We have to do something else, so here we are.
The Link Observatory is still in use today for educational purposes and astronomy conferences.
This place is a grand place. My wife calls it my mistress.
As part of the Indiana Astronomical Society's educational outreach, the observatory's telescope is occasionally open to the public.
You know, a lot of people haven't seriously looked through a telescope before, ever. And it's a common story that someone will look through a large telescope at Saturn and just be hooked for life.
Now, they were able to acquire the lens at that time because the International Astronomy Union had issued a plea for help to search for asteroids that had been lost during the war due to observatories shutting down. Lawrenceburg High School is getting a new $11 million gym, but for one Osgood, Indiana resident, the remains of the school's old gym are what matters. WTIU's David Hamilton shows us how Lawrenceburg's trash has become one man's treasure.
From the outside, it looks like an old barn, but climb up to the loft and you'll see that it's far from ordinary. What you're seeing used to be Lawrenceburg High School's gym floor. Mark Kummer remembers running up and down this hardwood in the 60s. His school, Jacksonville High, traveled to Lawrenceburg every other season for what always proved to be a tough contest.
When I was a senior, we lost 4 games that year, I think, and one of them was to Lawrenceburg by 2 points, so on this floor.
When Kummer received a call that the school was demolishing its gym and the floor was up for grabs, he had 24 hours to claim the floor and transport it back to his barn. His family and friends' reaction?
Like, what? And like, are you, they really didn't think it made much sense, honestly.
But Kummer had a vision. He wanted to build a place where kids could come practice and learn to love the game.
And if they wanted to turn into an athlete, why, and go for it, go big at something, why, here's a place that they could do that. If they want to, they can learn any skill they want to right in here.
Comer expects the construction to be done by next spring. Well, that's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news in Southern Indiana throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following: Indiana University's Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, presenting Security Matters with tips for improving online security in 3 minutes or less. Main Source Bank, headquartered in Greensburg, Indiana, offering products and services to fit every stage of life. More information at mainsourcebank.com. Main Source, life needs a great bank. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Smithville Communications, serving Southern Indiana with high-speed fiber gigabit internet. Smithville Fiber Gigabit Technology. Tap the power.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.